Alright, what is going on, guys? We are back with another video, and man, it's been a minute. In case you guys did not know, been dealing with a lot this past week and a half. So last Sunday, getting ready to record a video of last week's game. Well, then we had a tornado warning, in my area, around my area. So power went out, all that stuff. Couldn't record that video. After that, the next day I had computer issues. Finally got my computer totally back working, back to the same condition as it was when I was making these videos. So that's the real reason why I haven't been able to make videos over the past week and a half. I wanted to so bad, but I just couldn't. So that's the update. Want to give you guys. Been a lot has happened since then. Can't go over everything that happened in the past week, but today we are here to talk about the Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Phoenix and the Clippers. And we're going to start off by saying congrats to the Phoenix Suns on making it to the NBA Finals. First time making the playoffs in 10 years. And their first playoff, run in 10 years, they make it to the NBA Finals. And they first NBA Finals appearance since Charles Barkley them in the 90s. So what a feat. What an accomplishment for the Phoenix Suns, man. Nothing but respect for the Phoenix Suns team. And if you're not a Phoenix Suns fan, it's hard to not root for you guys, man. This team have been such a great story throughout the whole year. And we got to start by saying Chris Paul. Brother year for Chris Paul. After, past couple years, having a lot of doubt. A lot of people saying it was his best days behind him. I was one of those who also had question marks about, him. Did we see the best of Chris Paul? Was he on an overpaid contract? Etc. Etc. But the fact that he revamped his body, trained his body up, and the run that he's doing at 36 years old, I believe, is incredible to watch, man. Appreciating greatness. You guys also appreciate greatness. Also want to start off by saying Coach Monty Williams. Coach Monty Williams. Because, yeah, Chris Paul deserves a lot of credit, but he's not the only reason why this team have made it to the NBA Finals, and he knows that. So, the much credit that Chris Paul deserves, man. He's not the only one who deserves credit. Monty Williams, the tremendous job that he's done since arriving at Phoenix last year. A lot of people tend to forget that last year this team was trending toward making the playoff. And then DeAndre Ayton had, his, suspension, 25 game suspension, was really hurt the season last year. Ricky Rubio really started up, jumped up this roster last year. This team was on the verge of making a playoff. Also went 8-0 in the bubble. So Monty Williams deserves a ton of credit for the coaching job he has done with this Phoenix Suns roster, the culture that he established in Phoenix. And then GM James Jones, since arriving last year or maybe a couple years ago, correct me in the comments, but he has done just a great job since arriving in Phoenix at constructing, organizing this roster the way it is now. Picking Mikal Bridges, surrounding Devin Booker with players such as Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, signing Jay Crowder, Torrey Craig in the deadline. Making great moves after great moves after great moves. And all these have played such a big factor in them making the NBA Finals. Now, the job not done for the Phoenix Suns. Job absolutely not done for Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker has been showing the world that he's not an empty stats guy, which I never understood that narrative. I've been with Devin Booker train for a while. I knew how good and how special the kid can be, man. And he's showcasing and he demonstrating and showing the world how good he really is. Now, let's talk about another player who's been the X Factor, who was my X Factor coming in this whole playoffs, and who had absolutely ascended, who had absolutely earned a huge contract extension in the offseason. That's DeAndre Ayton. In my opinion, obviously, Devin Booker is this team star player. Chris Paul is the team, obviously, other team most important player. They veteran leader. But they X Factor and they most important player, in my opinion, they wanted to make a deep run, and he has been playing phenomenal, was DeAndre Ayton. He was an X Factor. Look at what he did in the LA series. Being very consistent. Played good against Denver. Did a good job in containing and slowing down Jokic as much as any center could. And then this series, in my opinion, he was the best player overall, most consistent player throughout the whole series of this LA versus LA. He was the most consistent. I believe he was the MVP of the series. He was the only one who played good every single game. He was consistent on both ends of the floor. He was causing havoc on the glass on the offensive end. He was so efficient against his Clippers team. He made the Clippers team pay by going small ball, which worked extremely well for the Clippers in the previous two series. But DeAndre Ayton made them pay this series, and he was such a force, such an anchor on the defensive end, man. He really done it all this series, and he really showcased, this whole playoff so far, that him being drafted number one was not a mistake. He's a perfect fit for this Phoenix Suns team, and he's provided stability, continue to get better on both ends of the floor. It's only up for DeAndre Ayton here, man. I'm really excited for his future. Obviously, Devin Booker has ascended into a young superstar, proving how good he is. And then I want to talk about the role players. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, who really revamped his career. It's such a blessing to see players get second chances, and Cameron Payne had made the most of his second chance opportunities. Such a sight to see, man. So blessed to be able to watch teams, come up from being in the bottom. Devin Booker was in the bottom for the first 4 years. Last year really had a competitive team, and then this year, seeing players going through that struggle and seeing what he had now, man. Can't feel nothing but happy for him. Can't feel nothing but happy for Chris Paul for all his playoff struggles and injuries and unfortunate, mishap during the playoffs. The fact that he went to a 16-year grind to make his first finals appearance, man. You can't feel nothing but happy for Chris Paul. I know a lot of people, don't like the way he sometimes, flopping was. I've never been a big advocate for flopping. I don't advocate flopping for any player at all. And that's one, thing I don't like about Chris Paul, the amount of flopping he does. And that's one thing I don't like about a lot of these players, the amount of flopping they do. But that's the overall problem for NBA that they got to solve, man. Because that's a whole different topic. I'm not going to really dive into that. Now let's talk about the Game 6. Sorry, you guys want to talk about the success of Phoenix. But Game 6. Game 6. Whew. Back and forth for first three quarters. Love the way in the first half, in the first quarter, how DeAndre Ayton really was, efficient. He was very good. Had early quick 10 points. Devin Booker had a so-so game. Not his best game. He didn't have the best of Western Conference Final outside of game 1. But, he was dealing with it no issue. Trying to get more comfortable with the face mask with a broken nose. So, I do believe that played a factor in it. And I do think he will be better in the finals than he was in the Western Conference Finals. But that's why you have a team. DeAndre Ayton, like I said, in my opinion, been the most consistent player throughout this whole series. He was great once again. Cameron Payne, loved the pace he played at the first 2 games. Had another solid game throughout this whole series. Didn't have the best game today, but he was very solid overall. He was very pivotal, very key for the team when Chris Paul missed the first 2 games of the series. And honestly, in my opinion, first 2 games they were playing better. With Chris Paul, obviously you need Chris Paul is the guy you want to point guard. Is the better player, obviously, but he was playing at a better pace, better flow, and he was playing phenomenal first 2 games with Chris Paul being out. And that's what you can ask for your backup point guard. He stepped up. He made the most of his opportunity. He continued to play well, man. He continues to play good, and he's making the bag this summer. He's earning himself a good amount of money this offseason. Now let's talk about Jay Crowder. I was waiting for the Jay Crowder game. Didn't really have the biggest of series. He was quiet throughout the series. And what do you know? Jay Crowder had a huge game. Had 19 points. I believe he had 5 for 6, 5 for 7 threes. His 5 threes. Knocking out big shots. And he was very good for them, particularly in that first half. Mikal Bridges had a quiet game. Really had quiet series, but love the defense that he played on Paul George. In this series. Also want to talk about Torrey Craig in this game. Torrey Craig was such a huge plus and bonus for the team off the bench today. Provided them so much energy. Really defended Paul George very well tonight. Gave Paul George a lot of trouble today. Love the defense he was. He's a more physical defender, stronger than Mikal Bridges. So I think he bothered Paul George more so than Mikal Bridges did throughout the series. So Love the way that Torrey Craig played on both ends of the floor tonight. He was huge for them tonight. And now let's talk about Chris Paul. So since you guys haven't been able to hear my reactions of throughout this whole series, Chris Paul, in my opinion, besides last night, did not have a good series at all. He was not playing good at all. Like I said, I was felt so much for Chris Paul after missing the first 2 games with unfortunate time and getting COVID. Why he's vaccinated? That's just unlucky. Unlucky, man. You talking about being a player being unlucky. Whew. Chris Paul come back game 3 was horrible. Game 4 he was horrible. Game 5 he was better than game 3 and 4, but he was not good. Despite what the stats may show, he might have like 20 and 8, but he was not good that game either. Tonight he was phenomenal, and he was due for a phenomenal game because he was not good this series. Particularly in that second half. Phoenix in that third quarter went up 17. The Clippers seem like they finna get back, ready to make a big run. They come back in this game, get back in this game, down 7. Clippers on 10-0 run to cut it to 7. With a minute and a half left, Monty Williams did a phenomenal job of inserting and putting Chris Paul in the game in the last minute and a half in that third quarter. In that third quarter, Chris Paul went on an 8-0 personal run to get, to extend the lead back to double digits, and he absolutely took over in that fourth quarter, hitting tough shots, getting to his spots in the mid-range area, getting to basket and finishing layups. The best I've ever seen Chris Paul shooting from 3, at least from the playoffs, 7 for 8 from 3s. He didn't miss 1 3. I feel like he could have missed a 3. He could have missed a 3. Excuse me. He was knocking out tough shots, hitting 4-point plays, doing everything, just putting on the show, man. Knocking out tough shot, and really just dissecting that Clippers defense tonight. 41 points, 31 in the second half. Literally did what Paul George did last game, scoring 31 in the second half. He was due for a big game. He provided when they needed him most, and it's only make it right for him to have this type of game, for him to make his first finals appearance against his former team, the Clippers. Man, love seeing what Chris Paul did. So happy for Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns. So happy for that book and all them. They absolutely deserve this. I know people are gonna talk about Phoenix have had a easiest run. Lakers are down with injuries. Denver missing Jamal Murray. Clippers missing Kawhi Leonard. And you know what? To answer that question, you guys are right. Their path was a little easier, but you gotta play the opponent, play the team that's in front of you. It's not Phoenix' fault they didn't know that they helped his team remain. This season, I wanted to say this now. I do believe what Steve Kerr, agree with Steve Kerr was saying back then. He said every championship team gotta have a little bit of luck, and this year is gonna be the battle of attrition. Doc Rivers said that, and I agree with him 100%. It's so unfortunate. I'm still mad about the fact, but the amount of stars that's gone down this postseason is a record margin. I think 9-10 All-Stars have missed playoffs due to injury. That's ridiculous. That's so unfortunate that the best players is not playing in the most pivotal times. It's unfortunate to see, but shout out to the Phoenix Suns for making it to the finals. Shout out to Chris Paul for making his first final appearance. Shout out to Devin Booker for making his first final appearance. Shout out to DeAndre Ayton for making his first final appearance and his first playoff run. Making the finals in your first playoff run, nothing but spectacular. Also, I want to talk about the LA Clippers before I end this video. The amount of fight, the fact that this team fought tooth and nail to the very end, the adversity they overcame throughout this playoffs, the fact that they made this series very close without the best player in Kawhi Leonard. I am one to say that I do believe this would be the different outcome if Kawhi Leonard was healthy. But the amount of fight this team showed. Let's talk about the first series. They go down 0-2, lose both games at home. Kawhi played phenomenal. This Clippers team showed a lot of heart. They overcame adversity. Just come back and win that series in 7 against the Dallas team. Go down 0-2 against the number 1 seed Utah Jazz. Once again, this Clippers team showed a lot of fight, so no quit. Won 4 straight games and won the last 2 games while Kawhi Leonard being the number 1 seed in Utah Jazz. And then this series, extended to 6. Besides this game, they was in every single game. Should have won game 2 If I'm gonna be realistic, could be going to Game 7 right now. The fact that they made this Suns fight this hard, this shows you how impressive of a run this year was for the LA Clippers. They didn't get the 2 championship. They made their first Western Conference Finals appearance while Kawhi Leonard made this series. This series was closer than 6. All these games besides Game 6. And they actually, Game 3, they won by double digits as well. But this series was a lot closer than them going to 6 games. This series was very close. And this is going to be one of the biggest what ifs. Big missed opportunity, in my opinion, for a couple of these past 2 years, especially this year, due to the amount of injuries and them losing their best player, top 5 player in the game, Kawhi Leonard. A lot of people going to wonder what if Kawhi Leonard was healthy. If he didn't get hurt freak action the way he got hurt in that Utah series. Very unfortunate timing. Kawhi Leonard was playing at an all-time level in the playoffs. Him and Kevin Durant were the best 2 players in the first. Best 2 players this playoff in the first 2 rounds. While Quest, them 2 were the best 2 players. That's a big what if, man. But if you're a Clippers fan, you gotta hang your head up. Playing this good while there's that's playing Kawhi Leonard. Paul George, in my opinion, had a heck of a playoff run, getting scrutinized. He was under the microscope, like big time microscope. Every little thing he did, they're gonna let him have it on social media outlets. But every time he had a great game, the media outlets, people on social media was dead quiet. Didn't give him his props. I'm here to give him his props because he showed out this playoff. He proved a lot of people wrong. He answered questions. He showed when their best player was out, he stepped up and did everything he could, man. And the fact that he won, got them to the Western Conference Finals while Kawhi Leonard, man, it's an accomplishment in itself, man. I'm here to pay a lot of respect to Paul George. I do believe he's over criticized. He is criticized for, rightfully so, for some of the things he's done in the past, he said in the past, and his performance. But the lack of respect that this guy gets is ridiculous, in my opinion. I'm here to pay him his respect. I want to give a shout out to Reggie Jackson, man, phenomenal. He played at an all-star level this postseason. He earned himself some money this offseason, man. It was so inspiring to see Reggie Jackson step up and be their second best player with Kawhi Leonard being out. Even at the time when Kawhi was there, he was their second best player with Kawhi there throughout the playoffs at times. He hitting big shot after big shots, and when they needed big shots late in that 4 quarters or late down the shot clock, Reggie Jackson was the one hitting all these big time shots, man. So huge respects, huge shout out to Reggie Jackson. I know I didn't talk about the Clippers a lot in this game 6. I know I'm all over the place. I haven't been back in a week and a half. It feels good to be back making this video, man. Feel good to be back, but Clippers, you can tell they ran the gas. Great game plan by the better team. At this moment, Phoenix Suns is a better team tonight. Clippers missing a lot of players tonight. No Kawhi Leonard. No Zubac. No Ibaka. Paul George led the playoff by minutes by a wide margin. First, only player in the Clippers history in playoffs to score 20 plus points in 19 playoff games. Straight playoff games. He scored 20 plus every single playoff game. So he showed up. He had some few mishaps, miscues, but my thing is every star have, bad moments. It is that Paul George is on the microscope so much and he gets scrutinized so much that they're gonna blow it out of proportion. I know I'm all over the place. I said this before, but huge respects to the Clippers. Last but not least, sorry, I'm going all over the place once again. Shout out to DeMarcus Cousins for being having a huge offensive spark plug off the bench throughout the series. Once again, had big time points in a short amount of minutes in this game, as he did throughout this whole series. Marcus Morris' last 2 games was phenomenal. Tonight, he was the best player, in my opinion. Paul George really had a quiet game, but if you got the game plan, you watched the game. Phoenix Suns made sure that Paul George did not beat him. They was making sure that anybody else besides Paul George beat them. That game plan effectively worked. Huge shout out to Ty Lue, the way he coached his team, man. In my opinion, he was the best coach at making adjustments throughout this whole postseason. In my opinion, he's one of the better coaches in the league. I feel like he answered a lot of questions that he only won a ring because Sustin does, LeBron James. No, he don't make adjustments. No, he proved that this season, this offseason, and this postseason, and he's one of the best coaches in the league. He's tremendous at making adjustments in the playoffs. So a lot of respect to the Clippers, man. This video is over 20 minutes. I had a lot to talk about. Excuse me. But it's been over a week and a half. Feel good to be back. Feel good that we all safe here. Tornado warning last Sunday was something. Something. But last but not least, huge respect to the LA Clippers. Gonna make a video about what's next for them later on, next few days or next week or so. So be on the lookout for that. And Phoenix Suns, man, the job is not done yet. They made it to the NBA Finals. Huge respect for the Phoenix Suns. A lot of props to this Phoenix Suns team. A lot of props to, like I said, Monty Williams, James Jones, Chris Paul, D Book, all the players, man. But yeah, let me know in the comment section who you guys think will win the NBA playoff. Do you guys think this Phoenix Suns will win the NBA playoff? And who do you guys have coming out the East? So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. I'll be back for another recap video of tonight's game. And I'll catch you guys later, man. Peace out. It is good to be back, man. It is good to be back.